Greg McDonald. Oh, I'm sorry.
Thanks for being here. I've been to several of these debates and I've yet to see that space filled. So I hope the same thing holds true. I'm concerned, first of all, I'm anti-incumbent, and it's becoming stronger day by day. We talk about Fannie and Fred. I know it's really Barney and Todd, who are the ones that should be out of office. These guys have been in there for 100 years. They're career politicians. They should have been kicked out after 2 terms, and then they wouldn't have time to learn all the ins and outs. The thing that really has me upset is the backdoor politics that goes on. I can't imagine, as a representative, that you would vote for a bill that's, what do we say, a sixth of the economy, and not having read it, that was passed in the middle of the night, and then you get to read it. That just doesn't, that's not my idea of what I want representation. What do we do about corruption in our government? I served 2 years on a church mission in Cambodia. And in Cambodia, it's headlines almost every day when it gets up to election that one guy's transferred from one party to another because he struck a deal with, and my wife and I would laugh when we'd read this, you know, and say, isn't that interesting, all this corruption? We were there when the economy tanked, and man, I can't tell you what happened to my 401, but that's another question. But anyhow, when I got back, I said, wow, look at the corruption in our government. It's not as bad as Cambodia, but it was worse, and it's cost a lot of people a lot of money. As a representative, what do we do about corruption?
What we need to do about corruption is back to the rule of law restoration organization. Please, I'd like for everybody to go and just take a look at what that organization is doing. It not only says that candidates must vow ahead of time that they will uphold the rule of law, but there's a pledge on there for voters to say that I will not vote for anyone who will not pledge for that. Now, this is this election, but we have other elections in the future to keep this whole thought process in mind for. If we have people that are going to stand up ahead of time and say, I swear to uphold the rule of law, then, and that rule of law, of course, being the U.S. Constitution, and then if we say that that's all we're going to vote for, because that's all I'm ever going to vote for again the rest of my life. Even if I go to Congress now, I'm not staying there. I max out at 6 years. That's the best I can do. I want to finish my retirement and stay home with the grandkids. This is not a career for me. And I think that if we started vetting candidates by those certain things, that we could, first of all, quit sending people there. They're prone to violate the rule. I'm temporary. If I were to be elected, I'm going there temporary. And if this district can't find somebody else to replace me, who is sworn by the U.S. Constitution, I can't go beyond 6 years. That's my commitment. I don't think I can go beyond that. So instead of there's been this question about whether we should have term limits. I have heartburn with term limits, and I'm going to tell you the reason. We have some bad folks in government, and we know this, and they keep getting elected, but they don't stay there without getting elected. So we're going to have to decide where to focus the attention for the change to quit getting them elected. But there are also some candidates, some people in Congress who thank goodness they are in Congress, and they've been in there a while, and I can name you one. His name is Ron Paul, and he swears by the U.S. Constitution. He tells you that I believe in the Constitution. You might not like the results of what I would do legislatively if you don't agree with the Constitution, but that's my job. And so he's been in there, he's from the 14th District of Texas, and he's been in there, since the 70s, I suppose. And he is in many ways pushing this whole get us back to where we're supposed to be with the U.S. Constitution. So that's where I depart. If any, I'm not saying that was your suggestion. I'm just saying that those who suggest that, not so sure that that's the best way to go.
I'm not sure it wasn't my suggestion.
Right. Well, my time's up, sir, but thank you.
Well, you need to send people to Washington D.C. of some integrity and go to Washington and do what they say they're going to do. And unfortunately, we got a congressman that comes back to the district and says things and then goes and does the opposite thing in Washington. And you know, he just doesn't really tell the truth. He ran ads here earlier this summer in Columbus Network TV here, blasting me with falsehoods, didn't do his truth. And on August 19th, the bipartisan commission, the Ohio Election Commission, ruled unanimously that he didn't do his due diligence and didn't tell the truth. He lied. So that's pretty self-explanatory there. But I want to get back to what I said earlier. The process in Washington, D.C. is absolutely broken. And when I've seen the legislative process here in the State House, when it works like it's supposed to work, and it's worked most of the time like it's supposed to, it's a good process because you introduce a bill, you have committees function, people come in and testify, and you improve the legislation because you got an open process and anybody in their own free will can come in and testify. And right now in Washington, D.C., you don't have a committee process. It's all top down. The committees don't function like they should. And the next speaker of the U.S. House, John Boehner, has already said, we're going to let the committees function. We're going to have an open and transparent process. And they came out here a few weeks ago to Pledge to America, and it said things like, we're not going to raise taxes, we're going to cut the spending, we're going to get confidence back in this economy, get people back to work, but we're going to have 72 hours, the bills will be online, members have a chance to read them, find out what's in them. I can guarantee you that Speaker Boehner's not going to stand up there and say, we got to pass this bill to find out what's in it. And now we're finding out there's all kinds of things in it. Every day we hear more stuff that's in it that's just like, you've got to be kidding me. So I'm sure there's lots of people who voted for that are probably regretting their vote on that, but they voted for it because they weren't doing their due diligence and doing their work, and they didn't let the process work. The Cornhusker kickback, part of the health care, you know, I like to talk about that. There was Louisiana Purchase and the Gatorade and the Cadillac plan on that, but the Cornhusker kickback's easier to understand. That was a deal for Nebraska to get Ben Nelson's vote, okay, that said for all new caseloads that go on to Medicaid, the federal government will pay 100%. Historically, the federal government pays 60%. As a partnership with the states, they pay 40%. But as bad as Obamacare is, own a mission. It moves people onto Medicaid. And in Ohio, if that thing gets fully implemented, we're going to double our caseloads, and it's going to put more cost on state taxpayers, state governments. And that was a deal that's corrupt, and that was beyond over the top. And we signed a pledge, Republicans. So this is how we're going to do it, and I have it here. I can share it with you. You can get it online. But this is what we're saying. It's not similar to Contract America 94, but it's a pledge to America.